Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Chippewa Spring Orchestra Concert. I'm Miss Anderson, for those that do not know already. I have the pleasure of working with these students as well as working with the Okemos students. I wanted to take this moment to thank Mr. Brown and Mr. Lalonde for working the lights and the sound and live stream today. With that being said, please feel free to just put the phones away. We have professional recording happening right now. If you are going to take pictures or record, please just no flash. Other than that, we're going to get started.
Hello, my name is Nikita and I play the violin. The first piece we will be performing is called Going to Boston, American folk song arranged by Carrie Lynn Russo. It is a fun and upbeat piece of music. This piece taught us how to play various 16-note rhythms. We learned how to play these rhythms at a fast tempo while maintaining a flexible wrist and fingers when playing with the bow. We hope you enjoyed our performance of Going to Boston. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Justin Valla. I am the assistant conductor here at Chippewa and the high school orchestra conductor, and so I'll have these students hopefully for a good long while now. At the high school, every spring, we always do a senior concerto concert. So the seniors work on concerto music, which is usually for a solo, and the orchestra. It's a very serious event. Students spend years getting ready for that, picking music, deciding what they're going to do. And so we thought we might want to try a little bit of a concerto with the middle schoolers to kind of prep them a little bit. So this one bow concerto has a couple cute moments in it. It's written by Richard Meyer, who is one of the best middle school and high school string orchestra composers in the country. He's also a middle school orchestra teacher, so it makes sense. And it features violin, viola, and cello solo where they pass the bow between the three of them, so there's a little bit of drama that'll get passed in the right amount of time. The entire orchestra is pizzicato accompaniment, so they never ever touch a bow. You might be wondering why we don't have a bass soloist. Like, there's not a lot of bass solos written, so a lot of concertos really don't feature the bass, so they just kind of sit back there and do their thing. But this is the one bow concerto by Richard Meyer.
spring concert. So, with that, the first award will have 2 recipients. It is the Okemos Music Patrons Summer Scholarship. And basically this is a scholarship that you applied for because of your interest, ability, and dedication to music. And the scholarship money can be used in any way to help you progress in your area of musical expertise, such as private lessons, music camp, sheet music, or equipment. And our recipients for 7th grade are Rin Canamira and Nikita Nair. Mrs. Birchman was a teacher of string education in the Okemos Public Schools for 30 years. Her dedication to her students and her love of music was the center of her professional life. Her students consistently met her high expectations and appreciated her devotion to them and their musical achievements. This scholarship honors students who have contributed to their orchestra through their commitment to excellence. And this year's award recipient is Orna Sen.
Hi, my name is Kanka and I play the violin.
My name is Nidhi and I also play the violin. For our next piece, we will be playing Gauntlet by Doug Spada.
This is an intense piece that feels like a battle or daring adventure. We worked hard to play with the articulation, meaning how we play with the bow. Sometimes we play short bow strokes called staccato, and other times we play smoothly connected bow strokes called legato.
We also worked hard on making our dynamics or volume of the music dramatic and precise so that you clearly hear who has the melody and to achieve good balance between instrument sections. We hope you enjoy our performance of Gauntlet.
a string arrangement of Never Gonna Give You Up came out kind of recently, and I told the kids about it, and they were like, we have to do it. It's pretty tricky to play, so really proud of them for doing that, and I guess if you play it randomly for someone, it's Rickrolling them. So I guess that's what that was. So we just Rickrolled you guys. And now we will actually play Gauntlet. At this time, we will start to transition 7th grade off stage and 8th grade on. So cellos and basses, put your entrance in, cellos right here, basses back over there. Let's have our 8th grade cellos and basses start to come up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jocelyn.
And my name is Tina, and we both play the violin.
Our next piece is an arrangement of one of Antonio Vivaldi's most famous pieces.
This piece is called Spring, which is lively and a cheerful piece inspired by the season it is named after.
Vivaldi shows the beautiful nature of spring as the violins replicate birds chirping and calling.
It will be played in the 18th century style of bowing and articulations.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy this classical piece.
don't have a concert program, we are not going to be playing music from Wicked. sing about. We have 2 more OMP scholarships. And the recipients for that is Dinesh Kapoor and Anita Yu. The next award is the Chippewa Orchestra Arian Award. The Arian Award is a national award for outstanding achievement by a middle school or high school musician. It is presented to the 8th grader or senior orchestra member selected by the director of orchestras, and this award has been presented every year at Okemos schools since 1983. The award is named after the legendary poet and musician who mythology tells us lived about 625 BC. The most popular musician of his time, Arian's musical lyre is still visible in the constellation Lyra. This year's recipient is Jocelyn Tam. The next award is the MSBOA Scholar Instrumentalist Award. The Michigan School Band and Orchestra Association is an organization of over 600 band and orchestra educators throughout Michigan dedicated to improving school instrumental music in Michigan. Founded on a single district basis in 1934, it has grown to 16 regional district associations in both peninsulas, serving over 1,900 public and private schools. Through numerous student-oriented activities such as festival, workshops, and teacher in-service functions, MSBOA strives to provide continual growth through instrumental music. Each year, over 100,000 students in Michigan participate in MSBOA festivals, either individually or as a part of a larger group. We are proud to award the prestigious MSBOA Scholar Instrumentalist Award. This award is meant to recognize those young musicians who achieve both academically as well as musically. And this year's recipient is Darren Lee. All right, we have 2 recipients for this next award. This is the Margaret Winfer Award. Margaret Winfer was a long-standing member of the Matinee Musicale, which is affiliated with the National Federation of Musical Clubs. Her generosity supported many scholarship programs, including one for the Okemos school system that is administered by the Okemos music patrons. The Winfer program started during the 1970s. The Okemos music patrons designated the Winfer Award to be distributed to 1 8th grade student in band, 1 in orchestra, and 1 in choir. 2 recipients this year. This is Dante Barrett and Hannah Elba. The next award is the Samir Kashyap Music of the Heart Award. The Samir Kashyap Award recognizes the soft-spoken leader who loves the orchestra. This person embodies the spirit of Samir Kashyap, who was a good friend to many, loved to play his instrument, and had a big heart. This year's recipient is Anaya Awesome. And then going back to our Jan Birchman Award, which was awarded to one of our 7th graders. The recipient in 8th grade is Tina G.
Someone found this in the women's restroom. It's not really the right tone for my skin. So if this is yours, we'll have it up front here. You can come get it at the end of the concert, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Layla and I'm from the violin. The next piece we'll be performing is called Deep River, an African American spiritual arranged by Carrie Lane Russo. An African American spiritual is a genre of folk music and religious songs that emerged from the experiences of enslaved African Americans in the United States. We worked a lot on bow distribution, which is to distribute beats across one bow stroke, and how to use slow bows on our down bows and faster bows on our up bows. This piece also has a piano part, which our classmate Tina will be performing. We hope you enjoy Deep River. Thank you.
hoping that you were going to give it a minute before you applauded just so we could live in that moment. So thank you so much for that.
Hello, my name is Dinesh and I play the cello.
Hi, my name is Shay and I play viola.
Our next piece is Enter Their Power by Carol Nunes, written for string orchestra.
The three hymns in Enter the Third Power are minor, meter, and mix. Each section of the orchestra is given distinct challenges, especially as the piece shifts between three different time signatures, 2/4, 3/4, and 3/8.
While the primary key is D minor, music also ventures into D harmonic minor, which is new territory for our ensemble. We invite you to listen for the strength and energy that Enter Their Power brings to the stage.
Sorry, before we get to Enter the Third Power, which is really cool, by the way, we want to take a second to thank Miss Anderson. You have not heard yet, Miss Anderson is leaving at the end of this year. She's moving to the Washington, D.C. area, and she's been an awesome presence for our orchestra program. I mean, the 8th graders are performing high school level literature, which does not happen in too many places, and it's all because of the hard work that she puts in. And I'm not going to get gushy because I know we still got a piece to play. But there's some flowers. The students got Miss Anderson a music composition book. So it's blank sheet music that you can write your own compositions in. And it says, your best composition yet. And the students have all signed it for her with all nice little messages. So you get to take that with you so you can look through it, remember your time at Okemos with us. Working with Miss Anderson has been awesome at Chippewa, and you know, I see the work she puts in, I see how the students react to her, and it's really been fantastic. So this is from me. Don't read it till you get home. But I want to thank Miss Anderson for all the work she's put in, for all the love she's given to all the students, and for all the things that she's going to go on and do in her amazing career once she leaves Okemos. So thank you, Miss Anderson.
the year, and I just feel very grateful to have been here in this Okemos community. I want to thank everybody, the staff, the students, the administration, parents, OMP, just everyone for making this a great experience for me. So thank you. I really will remember being here. So that's our spring concert. So thank you so much for coming. We're going to ask that. Thank you. We're going to ask that parents stay here, or anyone that's here to pick up their students stay in here. It gets really crowded out there. The students will go into the rooms and pack up, and they'll meet you back in here. Thank you again for being here.